following podcast contains content which may not be suitable for all listeners. Welcome to the Lug Nuts Podcast. Hey folks, on this week's episode, we are super excited to have our first guest. We sat down with our friend and discussed the stereotypes that surround certain cars. Our conversation did drift at times towards the bawdy, the prurient, the salacious, and so in the interest of taste, some editing has occurred. And I guess I would personally rate this episode as PG-13. I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
Welcome to another episode of the Lug Nuts Podcast.
With special guest.
With our special guest.
Hi.
This is Mark. He's a friend of ours. And when we were talking about this podcast before it became a reality, Mark pitched what we thought was a really fun idea for a particular episode. So that's our episode tonight. That's what Mark's gonna get us into. But I don't want to spoil it yet. First, I just want Mark to tell us a little bit about himself, what he drives, what
his first car was. Mark, we have to think about that. What your favorite car has been?
Favorite car, first car, what you pine after. So go for it.
This is getting really personal.
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so quick disclaimer: I am not your probably intuitive pick for a podcast like this because I don't know a lot about cars.
That's okay.
My husband makes fun of me because he'll be like, "So what about the 3P C3PO version of the blah blah blah?" And I'll be like, "I like the blue one."
Well, it takes all kinds to fill the freeways, which is also a car reference. Get it?
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
I like that.
Yeah,
That was good. I like that. My first car was a 1973 Buick LeSabre.
Ooh, what color?
Shit brown.
Shit brown.
Wow.
Yeah. It was probably like 37 feet long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bench seats, right?
Yeah. Bench seats.
Yeah.
And
Vinyl?
lap seat belts.
Lap seat belts.
Fabric seats.
Oh.
And it got about 8-9 miles to the gallon.
Gallons per mile or miles per gallon?
Yeah. You'd be hard pressed to figure that one out. Yeah. I don't know. Not much.
So that was your first car. Tell
was
us
my first
what your favorite car's been through your journey of automobile ownership.
Oh man, that is such a tough question. But I love the car I have now.
Which is?
I have a Tesla Model S.
Woo!
And
yes.
I love it. And there's the added benefit that you can feel superior to everybody else on the road.
Well, that's the best part of it.
Not because you have an expensive car, because there's lots of cars that are more money, but because you are better than they are, because you're not polluting.
Well,
you're better than the polluters.
There was a carbon cost of manufacturing the lithium battery.
Yeah, but we don't pay any attention to that.
The bulldozers mining the lithium didn't run on seagulls. They ran on the tears of Chinese children, probably.
And they run so smoothly.
They do.
There's nothing quite like the tears of Chinese children to run your vehicle.
Before we offend any more cultures, let me ask you this: why do you think the Tesla has such a cult following? Like, why? Zach and I've talked about this in a past episode. Like, the people buying Teslas, they're almost like early Apple people. Like, they're crazy about. And then there's a panache that goes with having a Tesla. Like, why? How do you think they did that? Why do you think they did that? Like, talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think initially it was because battery operated, like all electric cars sucked. Like there weren't any all electric cars that were fast, right?
True.
They just weren't. Like, people associated electric cars with like the car that you try to drive up the canyon and you can't get above 45. Right. And Tesla blew that notion up. So I think initially it was like, oh, you could have a car that's electric and fast and sexy.
I think,
right?
I think the sexy part of it is I think Tesla made it look cool. Like, think about some of the other electric cars that were out there that like they tried to make it funky and neato, and like it's just design it to be a cool looking car. Like they didn't try to make it look I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, I think Fisker did that when they first came out.
True, I forgot about Fisker.
Right,
You're right.
and may they rest in peace. Fisker was a beautifully designed car. Didn't they hire somebody from Ferrari, or I don't know. I feel like they hired somebody who was like a sports car designer to do that.
I have to look that up. Yeah.
But so like when Fisker came out, people started to notice, and then Tesla came out with an equally sexy car that was also like that they could actually mass produce.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we often talk about how it's impressive that a boutique, and we can call them a boutique brand because compared to the big three, they're tiny. You know,
But outsold, what was it, BMW or Mercedes recently
They
in North
outsold
America?
Didn't they outsell Mercedes in quarter four? In quarter, what are we in? Quarter three?
We're in quarter three.
Oh wait, we're not supposed to be too topical.
That's
but
fine.
they sold more than 100,000 cars in the quarter or
Yeah.
something.
and
which
they're
was
meeting
crazy.
they're meeting their goals and things like that. It's just impressive though that a company started basically from scratch and is where they are today.
Yeah.
And we also talked about how they're pushing other companies like Porsche to innovate
Mhm.
and come out with their own stuff.
I thought of something that I would change.
Okay, what is
Sitting
it?
here thinking, the logo. That Tesla logo's ugly. I'm sorry, but like, I feel like they spent their money on like the computer design and like didn't hire a graphic designer. It was like Elon Musk like at 2 a.m. after smoking a joint, like, well, I think this would look good, and like put like a sharp T in a circle. It's not good. They need to come up with a different one.
Well, I imagine they can evolve. Although if you look at Ford and Chevy, those haven't changed.
Hey,
Haven't
Toyota
changed, no.
redid theirs in like 1987 or 88,
Did they?
right? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that like bubble T is like not the original one.
I didn't realize that.
Oh.
See, yeah, and you said you weren't a car
I know
knowledgeable
logos.
person.
I know logos.
well, let's jump right into the meat of tonight's episode.
Oh yeah, why are we here?
So,
Not to talk about Teslas.
so Mark, tell us a little bit about your episode idea when we were sitting there brainstorming.
I would love to. Well, I thought it would be really fun to decide to. Well, let me preface this by saying that we have a game that we play in my family, called Midwestern or Lesbian. Mainly, it has to do with clothing and haircuts.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's hard to
we
tell.
might need to cut that part. However, so what we like to do is decide. We look at a car and we go like, like, is that car gay? Is that a gay car?
When you say gay car, do you mean like the soul of the car is gay? Like it would be, you know, like super, like it would want to date other cars that would be, I don't know where.
Like
And
a born
how-
this way kind of a situation for the car.
How do you have expertise in this matter, Mark?
What? How do I have
Yeah,
expertise?
how would you know
I
what
know,
car is gay?
I know lots of gay people.
Okay, all right, that'll do.
Okay, all right.
Some of my best friends are gay.
Even your husband might be.
my husband is as gay as they come.
Okay, well,
Big reveal on the episode tonight. Big reveal.
did we out you just now?
I'm shocked.
You're shocked
I'm going to be
learn.
like Peter Thiel and sue.
Okay, damn.
If you're a gawker, I get $10 million.
I've got a jar of change. You can just take that with you on the way out the door.
You know, I'll take what I can get.
Back to the game. The game is, you know, is it gay?
Mhm.
So we decided we're going to play the game with you tonight. We've put together a little slideshow of cars.
Mhm.
Just the car. There's no words. You'll probably recognize most of these.
Oh, I don't get to know the brand.
I put, at least in mine, some of the ones I added. I did at least say, you know, it's a blah, you know, brand model.
Yeah.
What about year? Like, is there ever going to be an instance where the car is gay in one year and not gay the next?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't think about that.
Well, as you look at
Like, I thought the 76 was a particularly gay year.
The next year they straightened right
They
out.
straightened her right out. Mhm.
Okay, well, let's just jump
Like,
right
it's gay for an IROC-Z. You know what I'm saying?
America.
Or what about like particular colors? You know, like if this car were painted beige,
It
it
would
would be. Well, we'll just see. Well, we'll have
Well,
to
here's
see.
what I'm
We'll
gonna
have
do.
to
I'm gonna show you the picture.
see. Okay.
take a second.
Take as long as you need.
Take as
I'm
long as
really
you need.
nervous.
We should be.
This is scary. you
Mics
guys.
are on.
Okay, so here's our opening slide. All right, here we go.
The slide says Cars for Mark.
Cars for Mark, and my computer just went to sleep.
Okay, we're going to edit this part out. We'll fix it in post.
Fix it in.
All right, here we go. Cars for Mark, car number 1.
Take 1.
Do you know what car that is?
Am I supposed... It has a European license plate. That means it's gay if it's European.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Preface. Well, let's pause because many of these have European license plates, but they're
Why
all,
is
they're,
that? Do you
they're
think?
all. I don't know. With Google.
Were you
image search.
surfing Google Europe
These
or
are
something?
copyright free.
I had been watching
images.
European gay porn just before.
Yes, your
I
Google
made this
Google
slideshow.
thought you might be in Holland. So it shows you a picture of a red. That looks like that is a rag top, right?
That is a
That is
convertible.
a convertible. It is a 2-door.
It is a two-door.
two-door convertible.
A Mazda.
Yes.
I can't tell you the model. I just know Mazda.
Okay.
What is the only car that Mazda makes that's a convertible? They've been making it for a long time.
Is it a Miata?
That
It is a Miata.
Okay.
This
yeah,
is the
okay.
latest generation of the Mazda Miata.
So when Miata first came out, they were only available in red, white, and blue.
Oh.
Did
Yeah,
I
you
didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Mark, you're dropping mad
See?
knowledge on me.
And
Yeah,
this
come
is
on.
something that I would have to argue makes the car pretty straight.
Do you think that it being in this red, it's
Yeah, I would
okay.
say so. Mm-hmm.
What if it were white?
Still straight.
Really? So
Yeah.
you think the Miata is straight?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Do I-
you
can
came
I-
here for shocking
Do
answers,
I re-
folks. And
Did you
Yes.
think, oh, for sure this one's queer?
well, here's the thing. Amongst people who are car people, the Mazda Miata is known as a great driver's car. However, to people who are generally, shall we say, just not car people or want to stereotype, it's thought of as like a chick car or a gay car. It's people want to like kind of put it down. But for people who just want to like autocross,
Yeah, but look at those headlights.
Well, they definitely went with their new design style with the latest generation, so it's not as curvy. It's a little more jagged, a little bit more. Yeah, maybe that was.
It kind of reminds me of a BMW,
Like a Z4.
Z,
Yeah.
one of those Zs.
the Z
Z4.
Roadsters, which we're
Yeah.
trying to emulate kind of all the same thing,
Yeah.
the European Roadster.
Just for our listeners, I have to say, and Zach's already said it, like that is a driver's car
For sure.
We love the Mazda Miata.
Would love to have one. If I fit into it, I would
yeah.
love to have
In
one.
Australia, they call it a Mazda.
Mazda.
Actually, now it's starting to sound a little gay.
All right. Well,
So are you
Mazda.
changing your mind?
No,
let's
Okay.
change slides before
Next
it-
slide.
Slides. Okay. Here
Only
we
if
go.
it's a right-hand driver.
Okay.
I've got here. I'm good.
All right.
Okay, so now I'm looking at a Ford pickup truck,
Yes.
an F-150.
Yep.
How am I? How
and you
on
can-
God's green earth could that ever be considered a gay?
Well, look, and you can you can do these on a continuum, right? It can be totally straight.
Oh
it can be
yeah.
bi-curious.
Oh, this could be like
It could
what's
be-
that? What's that? Not Maslow's hierarchy. What's the scale?
the
Kinsey
scale.
The Kinsey scale for cars.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
Okay,
you
so
could
like
say
the
this is
Mazda
like
was like a
it's like a twink.
was like a
No,
No,
more of a
that's
bear.
a different
Bear
no.
cub.
Those are, now you're getting into categories of gay.
Well, I'm
That's
just
not-
trying to relate
Okay.
on a car to gay category level.
So, well, yeah. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, an F-150 would be a bear, not a
If
twink.
it were gay, it's a
If
bear.
it were gay, it would be
or
a
it
bear.
could just be straight.
Yeah. It also depends on like that's a new one. You're showing me like a shiny
It is a new one.
truck. It's not beaten up. There's no rust. You know, it's a young bear.
So condition.
What they would call an otter.
So condition.
Oh, I'm learning new phrases.
So
Condition is relevant then.
Mm-hmm.
so you're
well,
saying if this was beat up, if it had like it'd been
well, it's
used
no.
a lot
I think
and
it's a straight car. That's a straight car.
Okay. So
I don't think
he's-
there's any way you can on a Kinsey scale. Which one is 1 and which one is 6? Is 1 straight and 6 gay?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so if 1 were straight and 6 were like all the way straight, never even
thinks-
had a wet dream about a guy, and a 6 is as queer as a $3 bill.
Shit, I might be like a 2 or 3.
We'll get into your personal life later,
well,
but
That's a whole
we
nother
think
podcast.
that
No, we're gonna
Ford
talk about
150, a Ford F-150 is probably a 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Mhm.
So we're all right. Moving on. Does that look
A
familiar?
Fiat, is that an E or is that just a Fiat
That's
500?
Just the Fiat 500.
Mine is the same color. It's gray.
Yes.
With mine has orange stripe on the seats. Let's see. A Fiat 500. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty gay. I would say it's like a 5 or a 6.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you gave
It's so adorable, isn't it?
I feel like if you gave that to somebody like at a rental agency and they had some issues with their
Mhm. If they came in wearing cowboy boots
and they were like
and you handed that to them,
they would have a lot of
be
problems with
really
that.
upset.
Yeah. That's kind of my take on that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the Fiat 500. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is
That's a Lincoln.
a Lincoln MKZ.
See, now like at a certain point, the car's not gay or straight. It's just like an old person's car.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
like
Yeah,
whether
I'm with you.
whether they're gay or straight, like it's like grandpa and grandma are in the front seat. Actually, grandpa and grandpa's buddy are in the front seat, and then like grandma and grandma's friend
Yeah.
are in the back seat. You know how you've ever seen that in the
Blue hair all around.
I always wondered about that. Like
Now we're just getting into
like
brand
they can't have a
stereotypes.
conversation with somebody that's sitting behind them. Like I don't. Anyway, so it's an old person's car.
I think
it's,
the
but it's
entire
actually like
brand.
it's an old person with like an MKZ it drives well, right? Like it's
Yeah,
fast,
it's
right?
a land
So it's an
yacht.
old person that wants to drive, wants like a powerful engine.
Yeah, a modern land yacht.
but
really.
not a sports, not like the old man in a sports car.
Mm-mm.
Like my dad would drive that car.
That's a brand that I'm surprised still like survived the.
Like if you're old and you're Republican, then you're probably driving that.
Maybe, or in the Midwest. A lot of those in Indiana. I bet. Not to shit on your home
Well,
state. Sam,
No,
but-
no, there's I think Lincoln, because it's thought of as being like an American company being tied to Ford, and so yeah, I think it,
Is this the one that the Chinese bought, or is that Buick?
No, so the Buick is still retained by GM, but they retained the brand because it was so popular in China.
In China.
It's thought of as a very luxurious
Yeah,
brand. The Chinese
exactly.
have like a lot of
Mhm.
respect for the brand, so they.
Yeah, I wonder
kept
if they
it.
ever
No.
drove the 1973 Buick LeSabre in shit brown.
Oh my God!
I think that this car
It probably has collector's value now over there.
this car appeals to the successful baby boomer who wants a luxury car but would be
Doesn't want an import.
lambasted if they rolled up in a BMW 5 Series.
That was a $10 word.
So there we go. All right, moving right along.
A Mini. So, see, now you're just going to show me pictures of cars that I drive. And so you're going to make me say they're gay because
Told
I
you
drive
it's too
them.
obvious, Sam. Told you.
But it's a Mini. A Mini. You know what? Like, so I actually had this exact conversation with somebody when I first got this car. Like, he's like a good old boy. He's a landscaper by trade. He drives a truck. I said, like, what do you think of my new car? And he was like, he like, it was actually pretty funny because it was like I put him on the spot and he didn't want to say anything bad. Like he didn't want to say anything derogatory about it, but he was like, it's fine.
And you were his client.
I would
too.
never drive that, but it's fun. It's fun. Sure.
fine
it's
for
fun.
you.
So I think it's exactly that scenario at the rental agency that you were talking about.
I took offense though when I owned mine, and my cousin gave me a hard time about it. Because honestly,
it's so fast.
They're so fun to drive,
and super fun.
It's probably one of my top. It's in my top 5 of best, most fun cars to drive. And so much like the Miata getting that stereotype, I feel like the Mini gets it unfairly sometimes. too.
I'm starting to develop a theory. What if it has to do with the shape of the headlights?
Oh,
Like if the headlights are round, people are like, oh, it's like
effeminate.
it's like a doe-eyed 6.
Yeah.
And if the headlights are like kind of like squinting at you or
Yeah.
like
the
they have
character
like the
lines are
angry
certain.
face headlights, then they're like
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
man's car.
Well, let's see what
Maybe.
the headlights.
I don't know. Could
Let's see
be.
what the headlights are on this next car.
Okay. Ooh, okay. That is a Mercedes. It is a convertible Mercedes. Is that like one of the? Is that like a?
The only 2-door convertible. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Never mind.
So
That's
it's like a E or 3. Is it a 3?
it's an SLK.
It's an SLK.
SLK.
Okay, that's it. So that's not. That's more of a girl car.
That's a sorority
That's
chick
a girl
car.
car. It's
Sorority
not. It's
girl
not
car.
a. It's not a gay or straight car. It's just a girl car.
Okay.
And you picture it because it's
But to be,
It's top down.
straight girl car.
straight girl like with blonde hair and the top's down, and she's driving in Florida
And her mom bought it for her, or her dad, or whatever.
or whatever. Yeah, but she's in California or Florida. She puts the top down whenever she can.
What about that
And-
car? So the picture I'm showing you is in silver or white, kind of hard to tell from the
Mhm,
angle I'm
yeah.
looking at. What if that car is black?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Okay.
matter.
You still
I
think
agree.
it's-
I'm with you,
okay.
Mark.
All
I
right.
agree.
Oh, okay. A Toyota, whatever. A Toyota sedan.
Camry.
This is a Camry.
That's a Camry. Mm-hmm. You know, straight. It's a straight car.
Yeah.
I think neutral. Camrys to me are owned by the everyman.
Oh, okay. So I'll qualify this. If it's the Camry in the gold package, where the no, I knew somebody who had like the Camry, but it was the gold package of the Camry, which had like the logo and
All
the
the
lettering on the
emblems
back was
were
in
gold.
gold.
Oh, yeah.
And as far as I could tell, that was the only thing that made it gold. Like, I don't know that it performed any better or it had like better AC or GPS or something, but to me, that is like either you're gay or you're like
Gaudy.
Italian.
Yes. You're not above wearing chains and or, I don't know,
That's
pleather.
a good family car. I
So,
love
yes.
the Toyota
Just
Camry.
a neutral.
It's almost like a control. It's almost like a control car. Like, in an experiment,
Mhm.
you have to have a control group. To me, this is just like, that is nothing.
Yeah.
It-
I mean,
it
if I
is
called
just-
that a gay car, you would probably kick me off the show.
it is,
Right.
we would never kick you off the show, but
But I would be completely discredited. It would be like, well, now he could just say anything was gay.
But like, let's say you're taking your boyfriend home to meet mom and dad,
Mhm.
because they're getting serious, and he rolls up in a Camry. You really have trouble coming up with any sort of opinion of the guy. I mean, you're
Right.
like, okay, he's like probably financially pretty,
he's practical.
He's practical.
Right.
Like, I can't tell what his political aspirations are or his political leanings are. I can't tell if he really likes my daughter. I just know he's practical. All right. Well, moving right along.
Aw, it's the Volkswagen Beetle.
The new
Another-
Beetle. The
The
new
new
Oh, is that
Beetle.
the squashed one?
Which this is rest in peace. I don't know if Mark
Oh,
knows
I
this,
didn't know
but
that. Or
are
they
no longer
discontinued?
making this. Yep. But
Because instead they have to install a nationwide network of superchargers as part of their
Volkswagen has to do
scandal settlement. That's right. They
I
have
did
to
not know
not
that.
only do they have to produce a certain number of electric cars, they also have to produce the network on which to charge them.
that. Yeah, well.
So I hope they don't do a dickhead move and like come up with another proprietary charge technology. So now we would have like 6 of them,
no,
and nobody can charge in anyone else's port.
No, the only theirs is going to be the only car that won't be able to use it is the Tesla. It's
Right.
It's going to be the uniform
Mhm.
style for the
Right.
rest of them.
Right.
I don't think of this. I'm just going to jump in. I don't think of this as being necessarily a gay car. I think of it as being like we talked about with the Mercedes. It's like a chick car. Like,
Yeah.
my niece,
Even the like newer version that looks like somebody stepped on it and it's like and in a turbo with like a racing stripe.
yeah,
I do like the smushed version more than
The
this.
smushed version is a little more masculine.
Okay, well, and you may be referencing the Audi TT.
No, I'm not.
You're not.
No,
Okay.
I'm definitely.
Okay.
When they redid the Beetle and they made it like it's like squished,
Okay,
not
Okay.
as much as a TT.
Well, in any case, rest in peace, Beetle. Okay.
Do you know what
A
this is?
Subaru Forester. I mean, God loves Subaru. Yeah, this is my husband's aunt Marilyn, who is she's an academic. She has a cabin in the woods. She likes woodworking. She has a set of tools and a tool belt. She has really short hair. She wears glasses. She has a wife.
So you're putting this up there with on the 6, right? Yes.
And she has driven a Subaru Forester for 20 years.
Okay. I again,
Especially though, I have to say, I think nowadays, with the newer designs where they look more and more like SUVs and they're like more like cross country,
Yeah.
blah, like they have like the packages that make them like beefier. They're not as lesbian, but like the original one with the like trapezoidal hatchback,
yeah.
that's such a lesbian.
This in the Outback, had the
100%.
reputation of they call them lesbian moving vans, right? Like that
But
was like the kind
even
of,
like the Outback to me isn't. It's more just like if you live in Colorado or Vermont,
Yeah,
you
well, there's
drive
that.
an Outback. But the Forester for sure is
it's associated. And so I read an
is.
article at some
Mhm.
point that Subaru did that consciously. And there's some point in the 80s where I think they had a consulting firm come in or something like that, and they tried to figure out like how
your target audience,
like our target audience, and they knew they were going for people who were like outdoorsy, and they also it was deliberate, like to try to target basically the gay community, to say like, look, we think you should buy our cars. I don't know like what the conversation was.
They also
like,
sponsor the U.S. ski team, so love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Yeah,
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. On the flip side, you never see like a dead deer strapped to the roof of one.
I would love to see that. If I saw that, I would instantly post it to
all the social media.
Yeah, to
all
the
social
internet.
media.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Subaru Forester. Moving right along.
Oh yeah. Oh god, that is such a. It's not a good-looking car.
War crime.
It really is.
It's a terrible car.
That's a PT. What's it called?
It's
a
a
PT
Chrysler PT Cruiser.
Yeah, and they're. I gather that they were meant to look like those sort of old-fashioned station wagons that had wood paneling, right? Didn't they even put out a version of this with wood paneling?
There are people who have those like stickers put on the side, basically to emulate that. Yes.
Oh god, it's hideous.
Yeah,
it's absolutely hideous. No self-respecting gay man would be caught dead behind the wheel of this car.
That's what I was basically going to get to. Is like I feel like this again goes with like old people. Like I think of the elderly and my brother. My brother's not old, but he acts like he
acts like an old man. Well, so here's my question about the PT Cruiser. Is this one of those cars that people like to modify, like put neon underneath and
not to my
different
knowledge.
Steering wheels and like weird rims and shit?
I think people like to try to hold them together with duct tape. I think they did not have a reputation for quality. I don't.
Isn't this okay? I'm about to drop some knowledge. This car is built on the platform of the Neon.
Correct.
That is
correct.
Which is the biggest piece of shit ever invented.
One of the largest. A terrible car.
One of the worst cars ever made.
So like you take a terrible car and you make it uglier. Is basically
you give
what
it a higher
did.
center of gravity.
yeah.
And they had weak ass engines. It's not like there was no like silver lining to this car. It's not like it was like but it goes from 0 to 60 in 5.5, and it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it got
the PT
great
Cruiser
mileage.
for people who don't want a
room
Chrysler minivan.
This car to me epitomizes why Chrysler almost had it not been for the government bailout, would no longer exist.
Okay, so do you like the Pacifica? My brother just bought one of those.
He
bought the plug-in version, by the way.
I'm actually a fan of the new Pacifica because of that feature.
But
Chrysler under Fiat Chrysler is a different company. The brand that's really holding it together for them financially, though, is Jeep. Jeep is what's making them money right now. So they've axed a lot of their cars.
I drove a Jeep once. A Jeep Wrangler. It was a what do you call it when you buy a car from a dumpster? I mean, not a dumpster.
Salvage.
A dump. Yeah, it was a salvage title.
Yeah.
It had been like rolled and flooded, I think, and so we had to replace the windshield and the wheels or something, and it never like the air filter, the light for the
engine light.
The engine light always came on because there was something with the emissions, but then it would go off randomly.
Yeah, that's a feature.
I would wait until
non-salvage Jeep.
Oh, so that wasn't about the salvage. That was just because it's a shitty Jeep.
just because it's made
so
by
I would
Chrysler.
like wait. The light would come on, and then I would wait for it to come off, and I would just make sure that it was off when I got my inspection, and then it would come on again. And it would make funny noises and stuff. But I put probably 100,000 miles on that Jeep, and not only that, but I bought my Mini to replace the Jeep Wrangler, and for whatever reason, I don't know what possessed me, but I kept the plates and the registration alive on my Wrangler for like 2 years. I was keeping it up for God knows why. But then Cash for Clunkers happened. And Cash for Clunkers was only good if your car actually was registered, right? And you could drive it into the lot. I mean, as long as you could drive it on its own power into the lot and trade it in, they would give you I think it was like $7,000 for Cash for Clunkers.
Yeah.
And we drove it into the place, with like things falling off of it. It was terrifying. But we ended up getting $7,000 for this Jeep that probably was worth $500. And in a twist of irony, we bought the first of 2 Volkswagen Jetta diesel station wagons that we owned.
TDIs.
The TDI Jetta, which later turned out, to not be so great.
It didn't actually clean the air as they.
But I got a cash for
advertised.
Clunker's trade out of that
On
Jeep
that.
Mm-hmm.
and traded it in for a TDI.
Well, back to the focus of tonight's
Jeep
show,
Wrangler?
the Wrangler.
That is a hot color. That's orange.
That is very orange. What are your thoughts on that? Like,
Okay, so the Jeep Wrangler is a gay car.
Okay,
So
here's what surprised me. So when I did my research and looked at some articles about I was like, someone else has probably written about gay cars, and like this was on in multiple articles, and
lot of the
I just
lists.
never
right.
that
So
never
like
crossed
if
my
you're
mind.
young and you go to the gym and you're good looking and you're gay, a Jeep Wrangler.
Huh.
So there was a show a while back on Showtime or Cinemax called Queer as Folk,
Oh yeah,
which was adapted from a British TV show of the same name, and it was like all about gay culture, and it's a little bit dated now because it was like pre-marriage and all that stuff, and it was sort of like a gay scene that was very like 90s. But one of the main characters on that show, who was like this Lothario who slept around and everybody thought he was sexy, and he drove a black Jeep Wrangler with custom rims.
Huh.
Yeah.
wow.
So that show you think has maybe even contributed to the car's image, or you think the car had that before?
Probably not. I think it had that before. And the cute guy in the Jeep with like the baseball hat, like that's a trope. That,
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
people.
But let me pull this back
that people
in.
know
Let
about.
me pull this back in.
Look, if you've customized it with something that you tow things with, or
Then
like
it
a
becomes
winch,
manly. Okay.
a winch, or like what are those stupid headlights that you put above the car, like those
Well, here's
headlights
what
that
I'm
are
thinking,
like
so
that you're gonna like shine into the window of the person that you're stalking. That's not gay. That's not gay.
Okay, so the picture you're looking at is the 2-door Jeep.
Yeah.
In my head, I have a 4-door Jeep.
Well, the 4-door
it's
Jeep
got
is
a-
really the 4-door Jeep is really silly. Anyway, I just think it's silly.
It's
I think
got-
it's
like
silly too.
a
I don't
4-door
like it.
Wrangler doesn't make any sense.
I don't like it. I don't like
It
the
makes
4-doors.
complete sense.
Okay,
and
whatever.
this
You'll
coming
have
from
to-
a guy
we'll
who
have to disagree
did
on
not
that.
like them.
Well, didn't your wife drive a 4-door Wrangler?
we did for a spell, and I was
Yeah.
much like you in the sense that I like the compactness of
Yeah.
the 2-door.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you have a child who gets bigger, you need the practicality of the
Mhm.
4-door,
Mhm.
and we're looking at a Honda CRV. Honda CRV.
Yes, it's a Honda CRV. Yeah, that's a straight car.
Okay.
My sister drives a Honda CRV.
It just to me says
it's
practicality.
super practical. Like it'll go 1,000,000 miles. You'll never even have to change the oil.
Yeah.
You know,
Not that we're
I
endorsing
picture
that.
it like filled with like, crumbs and like kids' toys in the
Yeah,
back seat.
definitely.
Basically, like it's
Right.
It's
And with that ground
Yeah.
clearance, it has never gone outside of mall parking lots.
correct.
And I have to say, just on that note, these are so nondescript that, like, my folks have a brown version, looks almost exactly like this one in the picture. And I've come out of stores and forgotten where it is, and literally have to
Mhm.
Can't
push
find
like
it.
the alert button on
Yeah.
the remote because there's like 20 of them.
Well, how do you think I drive a silver Prius? It's like, you know how every Prius is silver.
Well, at least you don't live in California.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
Every Prius is silver. They all are, including mine.
All right, next car. Speaking of,
A red Prius.
A red Prius.
So it just proved you wrong. Although that does have a European license plate, so maybe only in Europe do they come in other colors. A Prius? No, I don't think it's a gay car. I don't. I think it's a car that like uppity liberals drive.
that is the image that the car has. Also, curiously enough, I mean, it's just one of the lowest total cost of ownership vehicles out there. Believe it or not, just it's like the insurance is cheap, but yeah,
Right, but like I
that is
think
the
I
reputation
think
it
that we
has.
can demonstrably prove that like cost of ownership really doesn't enter into a lot of people's minds when they're buying. Like if that were true, then people would not buy cars that get below 30 miles to the gallon on
Yeah,
gas.
true.
Like they just wouldn't do it. But they do. They buy them. They buy stupid SUVs that cost a fortune to maintain, that cost a fortune to put gas into. because they don't want to be seen as an uppity liberal.
True.
That's a good point.
I have no such problem. Ooh, good car. Next slide.
Oh, so this is a Volkswagen. Is this a? This is a Volkswagen.
This is
What
a
is this?
newer version. This is the Volkswagen Golf convertible.
That's a Golf convertible
Is it-
because
was it
it's
not
not a
the EOS?
hatchback.
This is not the EOS. This is
Wait a minute, that doesn't look right. It's got like a normal trunk.
No, it has a convertible top. So
Right, but don't the Golfs have a hatchback? Is that why that? Is that why it looks like that? Because it's a convertible.
This is the Golf convertible.
So that's why it doesn't look normal.
Yes.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts?
I don't know. Well, so they got rid of the Jetta, right? So there's no more Jetta. It's just Golf and Passat.
No, the Jetta
no,
still
the Jetta's
exists.
still around.
Still around.
This is older.
Oh no, they
This
got
is
rid of the
older.
Golf. They got rid of the Jetta wagon, and now it's a Golf wagon.
This is
Yeah.
late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I was going to say this is not a new car.
This is not. This does not exist
This
anymore.
doesn't exist anymore.
No.
I don't.
No opinion.
I don't really know. I don't
You
know.
can abstain.
Okay. He's
What do you
abstaining.
think?
I think
I think
any
chick car.
white Volkswagen convertible. Yeah, I think like chick car. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily think gay car. I just think I think if again, let's go back to the guy walking into Enterprise and the only car you have is like a white Rabbit convertible. He's going to be like, hell no.
Oh,
You
but the
know?
Rabbit is super fast, especially the sports model.
They had diesels in the Rabbit, the old school Rabbits too.
True, but it doesn't matter. He's coming out of his F-350 and he is not driving that car. I'm just telling you. Okay.
A Lexus hybrid SUV, not gay.
Not gay.
No,
Okay.
I mean this is the family car that
Super soccer momish.
Yeah, it's soccer mom when they don't want to have a minivan.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
they moved out of the minivan stage, like maybe one of their kids has gone off to college. They've always wanted a Lexus. Typically, they've driven like the Toyota Sienna, that kind of thing. So they're stepping up. They get their Lexus.
Get the Lexus.
Well,
Get
and
the
also like
Lexus.
this is a super practical car, and the price point is low enough that like you are not buying a Range Rover. You're not buying an Audi A7. A7 is A7 the one that's the
S,
no Q7
yeah.
Q7.
Well, and the other benefit to Lexus is the long-term reliability.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
these are
super reliable.
They're Toyotas, so
Yeah.
they're super reliable. But we're saying that's a straight car.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Wrangler. Okay. Speaking
This is
of,
a Volkswagen Jetta.
that's the Jetta.
So I think in a sedan, it's neutral. If
Okay.
anything, like it might be a little bi-curious,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so station wagon is where you get into like the gay territory.
Okay.
I don't know
Really?
why, but the gays love the station wagon. You know,
Good
a
point.
place to put the antiques or the mid mod furniture that they get at the flea market.
Good point. Hadn't thought of that.
It's certainly not to put children in the back.
And last, I think this is our last car.
This is the last one.
The final car.
The
Mark.
Volvo station wagon. You didn't have like a Corvette in there, an IROC-Z. You didn't have any of the like typical testosterone.
Well, because I just feel like those are pretty stereotypical.
Oh, but it would have been so fun to talk about them and make fun of the way they compensate for,
You can
We're
talk
talking about it. We can
that.
talk about. We can talk about them right now.
But give us your thoughts on
the Volvo station wagon.
Yes.
It's again bi-curious.
I added this to the.
I mean, I think it's a little bit gay just because it's Swedish, right? And
I
like
added
everything
this
Swedish
again.
is gay.
because like this is a car that made like all the lists that I found on various like news articles. They were like Volvo station wagons totally gay, and I was like, I don't know.
All right. Well, thanks to our listeners for joining us tonight on Is It Gay with our guest, Mark.